Hello. Haven't posted a video in a while on family tree stuff, and had somebody suggest to me to pass over some old, so it's getting close to Halloween, and they were like, a lot of, you know, like paranormal things and stuff, or ghost stories. That was passed down one from my great uncle Saul, who told me when I was a kid he used to like to scare me when I go down to Kentucky. So I thought I would share a few of those things just for the Halloween coming up for the season. And one of the ones my great uncle Saul told me was at Baguley Hall, and I guess it would be in the Middle Ages this story came from, since our family left Baguley Hall in the 1400s, early 1400s. They traded out what was left of their land to the Lee family. And so one of the stories passed down was there was two brothers, and they raced each other down the steps of Baguley Hall in a form of small chariot. And they raced each other down the steps, and they wound up killing each other in the process. And those two brothers are supposed to haunt the hall. And I had a friend, she's passed away now, that was from the Withenshaw area there in Manchester, and she was a paranormal investigator named Nikki Carroll. And she went into the grounds of the hall and caught all kinds of amazing photos. One of it's a full-blown night that you can see, that they seen with their own eyes and took a picture of. And the other one, it looks like a priest in a habit that they would wear in the Middle Ages with the hood and stuff. And amazing thing about the photo, there was a priest associated with that hall. And the early 1400s, I think it was 1401 or 1402, he traded his land he had left in Baguley Hall to, I believe it was Robert Lee of Addington, whose son, I believe, this is out of mind, so if I'm off, forgive me, but I think it was William Lee, who became William Lee of Baguley. So he traded off this land to them for land in Stockport, because Robert Lee had inherited, I believe that was through the D. Eaton family, and back to the Stockport family and whatnot, but as part of a barony, so they traded property. And James had a brother named Thomas. Now, Thomas wound up going into a feud with the Lees of Baguley, and it lasted from the early 1400s all the way up to 1435, about a 30-year-odd feud. And but any rate, at that time, they made James Baguley, Robert Lee and Thomas Baguley made James Baguley rector of Stockport. And he must have been in his early teens when he became rector of Stockport. Later on, he became the rector of York All Saints Church in York, and there's still a stained glass window up there of a picture of him in it. And so he was at All Saints until he died in the 1440s, I do believe. So in 1370, he was made a priest. He probably lived to be about close to 70 years old, which was a good age back in that time period, because 60 was considered pretty old. So he had a good long life. They had a brother named Robert. He was married, but after the Black Death, you had so many people die of the Black Death that they were grabbing people into priest roles. You know what I mean? Whether they were married or not, they'd work as a chaplain or whatnot. And Robert was in that kind of a situation. He was also a soldier, just like his brother Thomas. They both fought in wars. And I believe, and they're cousins too, and I believe it was Robert and their cousin John was actually part of Richard II's Cheshire Bowmen bodyguard unit. They went over to Ireland and fought. And James's father, Thomas Baguley, fought at Poitiers and the Siege of Calais. And so that was their father. He was a soldier too, and he had land in Baguley and in Knutsford. And but at any rate, when she was taking pictures of this hall, there was an image that popped up with looked like a priest, which was pretty amazing. And the other interesting thing is I used to be a boxer, and they asked me in the 1990s to pick out my colors, and they said, "What color do you want?" And I said, "Oh, I'd like to have green on one side and white on the other." They said, "Why?" I said, "Oh, no, I'm just kind of attracted to that color." Later on, come to find out, that was the same kind of colored tunics my ancestors would go out in the county if they fought for the king. They'd wear a county tunic, and that was the colors of the county, which was pretty interesting. The other thing I had, and they were like, which was pretty interesting. The other thing that happened to me is I went to a masseuse, and she started rubbing on me, and I guess she was supposed psychic or whatnot, and she started asking me, are you associated with knights and stuff? And she started picking up on all these things and talking about my ancestors, and I thought that, you know, that was another strange thing that happened. But one of the other things my great uncle talked about, and he liked to used to scare me as a kid down there in Kentucky, and it was the Black Shook. It was a hallbanger of death that, you know, supposedly all the way back people would see before there would be a death in a family. And it, like I said, it was just a story. And I actually wrote a novel called Maegos Curse. That's M-A-E-G-O-S, and curse, which is an old Saxon word. I believe it means family curse. And so I wrote a novel based off that. And after writing the novel, I actually had 2 paranormal experiences of seeing this huge shuck. It was supposed to be a mastiff, and I seen it twice between 2 family members died. So I don't know if writing it kicked it back into being or whatnot, but I did see it twice, and 2 family members did die. But there were some other things I was going to tell you, but I couldn't remember. But if they come back to me, I'll share them. And but people asked me to come on here and just share a few of these type family paranormals, and like I said, the one's very ancient. Another one, my grandma, one just came to me, was where Saul and my grandma Dorothy, or my great aunt Dorothy down in Kentucky. She told me a story one time. It was people were hearing this baby crying in this house, and they never could find it. And finally this house burnt down, and they went through the rubble trying to find what could have caused all this. They never did figure it out. They did find part of an old radio, and they thought maybe this was attributed to it. But that was one that came back to me. But once again, I just wanted to share the story my great uncle told me of Baguley Hall. And I thought you'd find that interesting, about the 2 brothers racing each other down the steps and dying on the steps. Which, if you know my family, this sounds like probably some of the crazy stuff they would probably do, you know. So you guys have a blessed day, and I just thought I'd share that with you.